Okay, this is test number 2. This is now using the built-in microphone of this Sony ECM-AW4. Whether or not this passes my minimum standards, I've got to hear it afterwards. So let me know what you think. So far with the first test with the external ECM-CS3 microphone, it sounded acceptable. I won't say it sounds as good as the Sennheiser wireless system. Nothing does, as far as what I've used. So just minimum enough for me to use that prop mic. Okay, here we go with the initial test. This is the Sony ECM-CS3 connected to the Sony ECM-AW4. So this is to see whether or not this passes my minimum muster standards, I guess. Okay, this is the relative comparison test between this Sony ECM-AW4 Bluetooth microphone with my reference Sennheiser wireless system with the Sony ECM-CS3 attached to it. The reason for this comparison, because I want to know how this, $150, $160, $170 unit sounds in comparison with the reference Sennheiser using the same external Sony microphone that I've been using for quite some time. I know some of you, Joji, are particularly anxious to hear how this whether or not this even holds a candle next to this reference Sennheiser system. I'll tell you one thing, if it doesn't sound acceptable enough for minimal purposes, which is just for routine interviews, if there's any sign of distortion, it's going back. But if it's decent enough to where it's good enough for interview purposes, that's fine, that's great, then it's a keeper. But you see, I don't expect it to do what the Sennheiser does, which is do everything from interviews to even live recordings from direct recordings from mixing boards. So anyway, this was a reference, this is a trial. Okay, and now just for the sake of comparison, I'm adding this little clip, sample clip, that's actually made almost 3 years after the other test was conducted. So that way you could tell the quality of this newer Rode Wireless Go microphone to see whether or not technology has advanced in this industry. Lack of better words.